Okay, let's do it properly. はい。先生に、礼。相互に、礼。お願いします。
お願いします。
はい、put down your しない。礼。対等、抜けと。Let's start with footwork. Forward and back, 8 counts. 始め。1、2、3、everybody count. 4、5、6、7、8、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、はい、やめ。はい、サイドサイド。始め。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、はい、やめ。はい、diagonally to the right。始め。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、はい、やめ。はい、this time diagonally to the left. After my count. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、はい、relax. はい、休め。Okay, 休め means relax. Okay, so I trust you've been practicing by yourself, right? So let's review. So first we're going to do 上下振り 50 times, 正面打ち 50 times, and 小手打ち 50 times. That's your daily quota. はい、構え。はい、上下振り 50 times after, let's count together. Okay, we're going to count together. Okay, so when you cut through, that's when you're going to count. はい。始め。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10。はい、正面打ち50 times. Everybody count. 始め。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10。はい、this time 小手 strike. はい、30 times. Everybody count. 50 times ね。Everybody count. はい、小手。はい、始め。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10。はい、収めと。はい。はい、let's take 1 minute break. 1、2、men。1、2、men。1、2、men。1、2、men。1、2、men。1、2、men。1、2、men。1、2、men. Keep going. Yes. Okay. So, Jion, when I see you, your shinai is moving like this. You see that? Making a curve. So it should be straight, right? Because otherwise you cannot cut the target well. So it's really important that once you go above here, make sure right hand is at the right position. Okay, you want to make sure. Then from here, you can go straight. You see that? Straight. The other side too. Straight. And Bob-san, you too. I think you're coming back. You're trying to come back where you just came from, but you start from here.
Hey. Okay.
So make sure that you go to right position and start. Try not to start from here and going like this.
Hi.
So right now we're doing 2 tempo, right? So once we start doing that with 1 tempo, okay, Yeah, you want to make sure that that's why, like I said, after the first swing, yeah, when you go to the next one, you need to come back where you came from. But before you reach, your left hand reach, let's say, slightly above your forehead, so it stops before the left hand stops. Yeah, you can actually go back to the other side. So it's going to be smooth. Okay, you don't want to do something like pam, 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 pam. You don't want to do it like that. You want to make it more kind of like in a sense, like continuous motion, seamless motion. So you understand why you need to come back where you came from, right? Once you cut your opponents with a blade on one side, how can you remove the katana out of your opponent's body? Yeah, you cannot use the opposite side to cut, remember. So that's why you just need to come back where you came from. But, most likely you will be able to take out your katana when it goes around here, right? If you really cut your opponent's shinai. Yeah? So once you go around here, it's okay to switch to the other side. Yeah? Yeah? In this way, when we go to the tempo, one tempo, which we're going to work on now, you can go seamless. See, and still you are starting from here, and you're starting from here, so you can make the straight cut. Yeah? Also, it's diagonal. Okay. Yeah. Once again, you need to be able to swing along with your blade, and make sure that then not only the angle is correct, that's how you apply your power into the direction of the blade. Yeah. So even though your angle is right, you don't want to make a curve like this, so you cannot cut. So whether it's straight or diagonal, make sure that once you start cutting down, one straight line, whether it's straight or diagonal. Okay, let's go. 2 tempo, one more time. はい、構える。1、2、面。
はい。
1、2、面。
Men,
1、2、面。
men,
1、2、面。
men.
Any question? I start seeing this. Do you remember from day one? Day two? Was it day two? The last Tuesday. I called this chicken wing. This is bad, right? Like this. Do you remember, everybody?
Hi.
Now make sure your elbows are relatively closed. Now you don't have to squeeze. Okay, you don't want to make it unnatural, but make sure that your shoulder stays relatively, inside. Yeah. Yeah. So you can fully use your elbow motion too. Okay. When you make a swing, you don't want to swing like this. Yeah? Not like this. So you're not utilizing this motion. So your elbows can naturally bend and see, snap, snap. So even you go diagonal, be able to use the elbow motion. See that elbow motion, pan, pan, and both hands. Okay, so you want to make sure that your elbows are kind of facing maybe towards the cutting pad, almost. Okay, so the point here is when you make a swing, you want to be able to not only use your arms, but you need to be able to use the shoulders, elbows, and the wrist at the end, and most importantly, the whole body, the body motion. Okay, so if you're doing like this, yeah, just up and down, and just trying to, swing the shinai without thinking your body motion, shoulder motion, elbow motion, and the wrist motion. But the wrist you use only at the end, finish, if you remember. Yeah? Pushing forward, right? Using 3 fingers, right? Men, this motion. Yeah? From here, this motion. Okay, now let's go to one tempo. Okay, so after my count, you're gonna go men, ni, men, san, men, Okay, every time alternate the side. はい、構え。はい、斜め振り。1、面、2、面、3、面、
Men.
4、面、
Men.
5、面、
Men.
6、面、
Men.
7、面、
Men.
8、面、
Men.
9、面、
Men.
10、面。
Men.
はい、構え。はい、relax. Right now, you need to really use your left hand, okay? And the right hand just, don't use the right hand so much, okay? Don't try to make the swing using the right hand, but the left hand. Right hand is just trying to control the shinai, okay? So left hand is doing this. And the right hand is just controlling. Okay, this side, this side, this side, this side, but try to swing using only the left hand and use the right hand so that you can make sure that you are cutting the target correctly. Okay. Now, of course, once you get used to it, once you can make the correct path, then you will use your right hand to improve the strength of your cut. But the right hand is mainly used at the end. So like I said, not here, but at the end, when you do this. When you do this, you're gonna use the right hand, like almost equally as you're doing this. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so the next one is called sayumen. So just like a shomen-uchi, shomen-uchi, the target was from the central head to the chin. Okay, if you remember from the day one, I mentioned that the target area for the men is not just central head, but from the chin, one side to the other, right? That's a range. Okay, so this one, sayumen, we're gonna practice the diagonal cut, but the cutting only, it's like half of the head. So what you should now try to do is instead of cutting through, it's okay that you can just start cutting the chin and stop in front of the nose. So once again, the first swing, you go always straight up. Now from here, you need to make an angle. And once again, just like what you did with naname buri, you need to move your right hand to the right so you can make a correct angle. And then when you go down, just like shomen strike, the left hand is gonna stop in front of your solar plexus. Naname buri, it went all the way down, but here only the head. So it's gonna stop in front of your solar plexus and cutting through the chin to the middle of the face, like nose. Understand? And once you cut one side, make sure that you come back where you just came from. And then once go to the other side. And this, once again, left hand in front of your solar plexus. Here, the tip should go in front of your nose, which means right hand and the tip should go on your center line, right? Now, if you stop it here, then you are just hitting the temples, but you're not gonna be able to cut if you stop there. You need to cut through. Make sense? Yep. Make sense? So when you see the chart, and this is kind of like I do, how I do. Like if you have a chance to see other sensei and get advice from other sensei, they might tell you something different. Normally, most of the sensei just say like, okay, keep the left hand on the center. My way, I consider, sometimes you can consider your center line to be just not one thin line, but especially when you do the sayumen, you can consider your center line has some width, like 4 inches. So consider that 4 inch, like from here, 2 inches to the side. That's your center line. In that way, when you do this sayumen, you see that my left hand is not, this is the center, but little bit to the left. My right hand is a little bit to the right, just a tiny bit. But what you want to make sure that is that this is going to stay on that thick center line as I described. Okay. In other words, if you go like this much, that's too much. Now your left hand is completely on the side. Yeah. So instead of trying to keep everything on the center, you can have a little bit, like 2 inches from the center line, 2 inches from the center line. That's okay. Yeah. Now, when you go other side, once again, your left hand goes 2 inches from the true center line. Right hand is gonna go to your left from your point of view, but only up to 2 inches. Do you understand what I'm saying? John, you understand? Yeah. So when you see this one, this is non-library, by the way, okay? And then this is segment. So you see this a blue line on the left. Yeah, I say like 4-inch long.
Mm.
And the left hand, as long as it stays on the line, it can be tilted a little bit. Yeah, and once again, the target is we see tempo to the nose. Yeah? Tempo to the nose. Tempo to the nose. Okay. Everybody understand? All right. So let's go to the two tempo. Right, come on. 1、2、men、1、then switch to the left side. Then 2、men、1、up and switch to the right side. 2、men、1、left side。2、men、1、2、men、1、2、men。Keep it up. Keep it up. See that, Jung? That's what I was saying. Your hands are too low, your tip is too low, everything is down here. You gotta be conscious what you're doing. Okay, come on. Okay, so when you practice by yourself, then make sure you use like man-sized mirror as much as possible so you can see the entire body of yourself. Okay? Obviously, it's more important for you to be able to see the upper body, but it's gonna be a plus if you can see how your lower body is moving too. Understand? Yeah? If you don't have a good mirror, you can use that camera from your computer or like a tablet. Yeah. Smartphone, maybe it's very hard for you to see. Yeah. So try to use some big screen, and you can just use it as a mirror so that you can see how you're doing. Well, actually, if you're using the camera, maybe you should record yourself. Yeah. Take a video of yourself so you see how you're doing. Okay, so check and then correct and try again. Check, correct, try again. Right, let's go one more time. Right, come on. 1、2、men、1、2、men、1、2、men、1、2、men. You are stepping forward and back straight. Okay, your opponent is in front of you. Okay, so if you're using the man-sized mirror, actually everybody is looking at you too, right? Not only me, you can look at yourself. Okay, that's your opponent. Okay, you in the screen, that's your opponent. Okay, so be able to strike the tempo and cut through to the nose. Hey, come on. Hey, after my count, 3 men. 1、men、2、men、3、men、4、men、5、men、6、men。Okay, once again, make sure you are able to stop it here. How come you cannot stop? Check your grip. Over the top. Hitch. Men. 8. Men. 9. Men. 10. Men. Hey, come on. Okay, relax. Now, so if you have a correct grip, over the top, yeah, not from the side, over the top, over the top. Now, when it should look like this when you are done. Okay, like this. not like this. Like this. See that you're gonna turn this way. Maybe that's what you need to do if you cannot stop your Schnell wheel. And be able to, once again, use the left hand. Use the left hand. Up, especially you go down. Make sure that you're gonna start as if you're starting from your left hand, not from the right. This is from the right. Yeah. Make sure that you from the left. And then bam, finish with the right hand. Right, come on. One more time. Okay, make sure your left hand stays on the center line, but that thick 4-inch long center line. Not this. See, this is too much. Right? You don't want to move your hands to the side that much. Look. Men. Hitch. Men. Hutch. Men. Q. Men. Jip. Men. So when you stop the shomen uchi, when you finish your sayumen, when you go back to the kamae, you need to feel the difference in terms of height. From here to the kamae, your left hand moves a lot, right? This is lower abdomen. This is solar plexus. It's a big difference. If you don't feel that difference, you're doing wrong. Most likely, your left hand is too low, and that's why you don't have to move the left hand down so much. Okay, that's one way to check. Let's do one more. Okay, this is called Sayu Do. Now the target is torso. Okay, so this one is actually the most difficult one. Okay, so this is the Do. Now the target is the torso, right? So we're gonna do the both side. Okay, and later on, please look at this chart so that you can review. But for now, let me explain. Okay. So first of all, once again, the hand position. When you go up, okay. Now the left hand motion. Okay, this one is a little bit different. Now when you did the jogebri, it went up and down, straight up, straight down. Even when you are doing the nanamebri, went up, went down, straight, right? This one is a little bit different. When you go up, now you're gonna move your left hand diagonally in front of your hip bone, right hip bone here, okay? So this way. And then when you come back, you're gonna come back to the center, slightly above your forehead, just like jogebri, nanamebri. And when you go to the other side, because we're gonna do both sides, the left hand now goes to the other side of the hip bone. So it goes like this, like that. So it's like drawing a triangle shape. Now the right hand. Then when you go up, this is a diagonal cut to the torso. So you probably need to move the hands more than when you do the nanamebri. So probably around slightly, maybe beyond your shoulder, or depends. You could still be able to do the diagonal cut, even if your right hand is almost above your shoulder. Okay. Now here, when okay, so I started this side. When you go this side, right hand goes to the side, maybe a little bit beyond the shoulder, and then cut the torso and stop in front of the hip bone too. So when you are using the shinai like this, and everything actually stop in front of the your right hip bone, and then you need to cut through the torso, so the tip should stop in front of the hip bone too. Okay, you want to cut through the torso, so you don't want to stop here. If you go here, that's too much. It's not necessary. Okay, yes, you are cutting through the target, but why do you have to travel so much? If you travel so much, which means when you come back, you need to come back, travel back again. So if you are, trying to cut it quickly, that's going to be disadvantage if you travel too much. So just enough to cut the target. That's why the tip try to stop it in front of your hip bone so that you see yourself as an opponent, like I said, right? You can cut your opponent's torso through. You need to cut through. And then when you go back, like I said, the left hand goes here and go to the other side of the hip bone. Now, just like Sayumen, once it goes around here, make sure that you go back where you just came from, and just before everything goes up, right hand can go to the other side. And then like this. Yeah. So like this, like this, like this. And once again, make sure that you're using the braid. Okay. You need to swing along with the braid. Okay. Like that. Okay. Okay. Now, only when you do the sayudo, it's gonna be easier to strike because the do is on the side. When you strike this side, you may move diagonally to the right a little bit. Okay? So when the opponent is in front of you, if you go here, it's difficult to start cutting, right? So you wanna be able to start cutting around here. Okay? So opponent in front of you, that's why you wanna be here. So you can start cutting and cut through. So that's why you move diagonally forward to your right. And likewise, when you go back, diagonally to the left, just a tiny bit. It's like you are, if you see the opponent in front of you, try to move the left shoulder towards your opponent's left shoulder. Yeah? So the angle is, see, this is a straight line. Yeah. And then like this much. So just a tiny bit. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's do two tempo. Yeah. So let me just show you how you do it. Yeah? Once again, only first one straight up, right? And then from the second one, slightly move diagonally to your right, foot walkwise, and strike your left side, okay? Not this side, yeah? Obviously this side. Opponent is in front of you. Now, as you go back, up, go to the other side, and move diagonally to your right, back, and then strike your right side. Okay, up, switch to your left, move diagonally forward to your right, and cut. Up, switch to your right side, move diagonally to your left, and cut. Okay, like each, switch to your left, ni, then say do. The target is now do, so you have to say do. Ni, ni, do,
Do,
san, ich, ni, do,
do,
ich, ni, do, ich, ni,
do,
ich, ni,
do.
do. Then once again, you are using the left hand. Use the left hand fully. And like I said last time, check your grip all the time over the top so that you can stop your shinai because of the correct grip. Okay, so it cannot go more than this. See that? It stops. It stops because I'm holding my shinai and this part, yeah, that's where the shinai stops. See, it cannot go more. If you're holding the shinai even a little bit from the side, just even a little bit from the side like this, okay, you cannot stop. Okay, if you cannot stop and you feel that the shinai is gonna go down, you're gonna lose the shinai, then your grip is wrong. So everybody try. Show me. Do this. Everybody. Yeah. Are you able to stop it? Yeah. Yeah. So when you can do this, yeah, of course, everything is going to be easier because obviously, when do you want to have the utmost speed? When you are making the swing, right before you stop, right? That's when you need the utmost power. Okay, so that moment you should be able to produce maximum speed. Yeah? If you don't have a good grip, you don't feel comfortable. You have no confidence. That's why many people, beginners, they actually reach the maximum speed around here. And because they need to prepare to stop it, the tip speed actually decreases. And that's because of your wrong grip. Yeah? So you should be able to increase the speed all the way and towards the end. Now, this is not only for do, but when you do the do, same thing. When you go here, you should be able to use the left hand to stop it here. So once again, if you cannot stop it here and the tip goes all the way like this, your grip and also the direction is probably wrong. And once again, maybe you're just using the right hand like this. See that left hand? You don't even know where it is. Too high? Do you see that? If you are always conscious about the left hand motion, you should be able to stop it in front of the hip joint. Pan. Okay? So you need to really move your left hand up and down, very big. Okay, now let's go to one tempo. Come on. Sayudo. This is called Sayudo. After my count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Now let's review. Nanamebri. Diagonal cut all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Once again, make sure you go straight forward, straight back. Jion. Not diagonal. Your opponent is in front of you. 1, 8, 9, 10. Come on. Sayumen. 10 times. Everybody count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody count. 4. Everybody count. 6. Count. 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep it up. Ivan, why are you here? You should be here. Sayumen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Keep it up. Up. Make sure your blade is down diagonally, right? Yeah. How come I see some people doing this? Braid. This is how we end. This is how we end, Jiong. Right? This is how we end. Not this. This. It's a sayumen. Yeah. Come on. Sayudo. 10 times. Everybody count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Come on. 収めると。Okay, so so now those 3 different kinds. Today we did Nanamebri, Sayumen, and the Sayudo. Okay, so please add those to your daily Suburi menu, 50 each. Okay, and we're gonna move on to another technique next Tuesday. Okay, once again, stand up, check your posture. 相互に、礼。相互に、礼。ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
Okay, good job. If you have any questions, just stay here. All right, I'm available.